Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the Belgian Grand Prix. This one's going to be difficult in two ways. One way that I was at the North London Derby, so it was difficult to watch. Having to make my way down there and having to basically miss the Grand Prix. Managed to watch highlights later on, so. But the main sort of difficulty is what's happened during this weekend. If you are F1 fans, you will probably know that during the F2 series that follow Formula One around the world, during the feature race, there was a horrible accident. Where Hubert hit the wall and Correa had nowhere to go and went straight into Hubert, which cut the car in half. It was a horrible accident. Now Correa is still in a stable condition in hospital with two fractures in his leg, with fractures in both legs and a minor spinal injury. But unfortunately, Hubert had succumbed to his injuries before he even got to the hospital. Hubert, who was the reigning GP3 champion, and in his debut season, which was this season in Formula 2, he'd won at Monaco and his home race in France. So he looked like to be another promising youngster coming through the Renault Academy to eventually probably make his way into Formula One. And following the likes of his sort of teammates and rivals, Ocon, Leclerc, Gasly. So it's weird because a lot of people now will say about the safety of the sport, you can only do so much. The cars are so safe, and don't get me wrong, if there's any way to make them safer, I'm all for it. Right? I'm all for safety, because we don't want to see that ever. But they've made the corner a rouge as easy as it can be. They've made, in terms of, it used to be a tight turn, now it's easy flat. Same with Blanchiment. Pouin now is nearly flat. We're talking about the circuit here. There's not much they can do in terms of, no matter how much runoff area there is on the outside, you're coming off a rouge at 190 miles an hour, maybe 175, 70 in a Formula 2. And the cars are so, for people that don't know, what the car sits in, what the driver sits in is it's called a monocoque chassis. And what this does is basically a survival cell. It's like an impenetrable coffin, designed to take the biggest of impacts on a tyre barrier. And they stress test these in various safety tests before the season starts. Same as all other areas of the car are tested for safety. And unfortunately, it was one of those accidents where it happened so quick. There was no way they could have slowed the cars down in time to stop one of them hitting Hubert. VSC, the yellow flags only just came out as Hubert was coming back off the track, and before the VSC was called, Correa's already hit him. So I don't find any fault there. I don't find any fault really, apart from it's just one of those horrible accidents that we should hopefully never see. Out of respect, the F2 cancelled the sprint race after the feature race was cancelled, because this was only after lap 2 of the Grand Prix, of their Grand Prix. So they should be back in Monza for the next one. But it's, if people want to blame anything out of that, it's not hard to, it's horrible to say, but it is true, and the only person you can blame is Hubert or Alesi, because he was avoiding Alesi as off camera. He avoided Alesi, who had a wobble in a rouge, and whilst Alesi had a wobble and carried on, Hubert avoided him and lost control of the car. And by the time he's lost control of the car, he's a passenger. And Correa, coming out of the rouge, had no idea that Hubert was there until it was too late. So yeah, it's horrible, and it's hopefully something we should hopefully never see again. And it's a shame, because he was a talented driver, very talented driver, who looked to have a bright future ahead of him, in not just F2 but maybe further in Formula 1. So yeah, moving on to the actual race itself. After Leclerc, this was after Leclerc started on pole. Vettel started second. They locked out the front row for the Ferraris with their straight line speed advantage. They should have been able to take this victory. Two Mercedes stuck behind them, and Leclerc managed to hold on to lead from turn 1 all the way down to Le Con at the end of the Camel Straight, which was very rare for someone who starts on pole position. And Verstappen crashed into the source with Raikkonen, and it's again one of those rash moves from Verstappen. He's diving down the inside of Raikkonen, knowing that gap is going to close. If he doesn't know that gap was going to close at the source, right, why the hell is he driving an F1 car? Why the hell is he an F1 driver? Right, it doesn't take anyone with it doesn't take a lot of intelligence to work out that gap was going to close. Because at some point, Raikkonen has got someone on the outside of him, so he's going to have to turn into the inside of the corner. Right, so there's no space for Verstappen to go. Right, so, and it's just again inexperience, a bit of arrogance, I feel, in terms of his driving style. That's cost him a good hold of points, because he broke probably the steering rod, because he couldn't turn into a rouge and went straight on into the wall, and that was that. Again, after the restart, Hamilton having to cover off Bottas, there wasn't a lot going on. lap 19, everyone standing for a minute's applause for lap applause for the lap, because it was Antoine Hubert's driver number. And Ferraris made their pit stop, and then Mercedes made their pit stops, and it looked set to be a 1-2 for Ferrari and a 3-4 for Mercedes. Hamilton again not giving up on anything. He started gaining on Vettel as he started to run out of tyres, and he just gained and gained. Though the Ferraris had faster on a straight line, he was gaining them because the tyres, Mercedes have managed to build a car that gets the best out of these tyres, whereas Ferrari, again, like in Canada, like in Austria, can't get the tyres to work. Can't get the tyres to work for the longevity they want. Because after Hamilton finally caught Vettel and overtook him with about 12 laps to go, Hamilton, with about 5 laps to go, started capturing Leclerc, because his tyres started to go. If it went on for another 2 laps, you would have probably seen Hamilton winning the race, to be honest, because Leclerc had no grip left. But in the end, I think the right driver won the Grand Prix. With the way things played out during the weekend, it was definitely the right person who should have won. He was dominant all weekend. Got pole position again, led from the start, and did everything right, and like he did in Austria and like he did in Bahrain. So I'm glad to see Leclerc has got his first victory in Formula One, and hey, it's now given Ferrari, after 13 races, their first Grand Prix win of this season. That's now one of 2 that they should win, which is the next one being the Italian Grand Prix, which should be, I think it's a week's time, or if not a 2 weeks' time. So yeah, it's up to Ferrari to get the next one, and up to them to not show that they can at least challenge Red Bull for second. And actually, speaking about Red Bull, though Verstappen went out, Albon had a really good race to get himself back up to get a good amount of points after starting with engine penalties. And I think he did absolutely brilliantly for his first race. Showed a lot of maturity, picking the right moments to overtake, very calm behind the car. So yeah, good. It was a very good start from him. I'm glad to see it. But yeah, that's my review of the Grand Prix. Move on to Monza, but the weekend belongs to the memory of Antoine Hubert, and all the thoughts go to his friends, his family and his friends. So yeah, leave a like, leave a comment about the weekend, and subscribe if you're new. Yeah, leave all your comments below, and I will come back to you with another preview of the Italian Grand Prix. So yeah, take care.